about so there is no right or there's no wrong in what we do in this life. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Well, I mean, of course, there is. If you harm someone, it's not. In a way, it's not right. However, you can harm only those people that wants to have the experience of being harmed. So it's all perfectly in balance all the time. This might sound very strange, but it's true. This doesn't mean that you have to sponsor harmful situation, quite the opposite. But I suspect that when you are in resonance with your own heart, you by default will not harm anyone. I don't think it's possible. You are with the heart open, connected to source, and in this imaginative vision that you want to crystallize into this, and you harm somebody. You might harm someone that it repels that kind of high enlightening vision, but that person will not come to you, and you will not see him or her, and he will not see you. So there is rightness and wrongness, of course, when you look at the collective or how you interact with people. There are rightness and wrong, and we know them. We know when we are doing something right and when we are doing something wrong. But in terms of having an experience, I don't see right and wrong. As if you choose to smoke, you choose to smoke. If you choose to eat meat, that's your experience. If you choose to have a 9-to-5 job, that's an experience. So it's not right or wrong. It is what you need to have an experience with. The right and wrong is regarding to how you commune with the other person. Of course, the best would be do no harm. And actually that would be, in my opinion, is the only law that we need to respect. So play with the playground and just do not harm. Many say do not do to others what you don't want others to do to you, but that's kind of twisted, because many people make choices that are self-inflicting and self-harmful, and so it's better to just keep it open, just do not harm, or at least try the best not to harm. And again, once you're connected with your heart, there is no confusion. You know when you are hurting somebody or something, or you're doing something that is not in harmony with life. Again, it is the experience of being in disharmony with life also is an experience, and life will accept that, because life always tells you yes. It always says yes to you, whatever you say, because it wants you to decide, it wants you to be the creator. So anything you say, anything you do, it's always yes.
But in a way, are there no, in this playground and in this kind of game, there are no rules, there's nothing, no, how do you say, sometimes divine laws?
Yes, there are divine laws. However, the divine laws are embedded within ourselves. So again, if we are in connection, in full, we have a heart open, and we are connected to our source, we don't need laws. laws are required when we are disconnected, and then we need some kind of regulation so that we don't stumble upon something else, because we are so dissociated that then we need some laws. But again, in a way, everything is always as it's supposed to be, because the killer and the killed are two vibrational offers that match each other. So if I for some reason, strange reason, I have to experience killing someone, or I need to experience being killed, then I will manifest the killer, or I will manifest someone to kill, and everything again is perfectly in order. I will not be able probably to manifest somebody that doesn't, at the soul level, I'm saying, doesn't want to have the experience of being killed. Because everything is vibration, and everything, there is not such a thing as luck, or how do you say, are circumstances that happen by luck or by misfortune. Everything seems to be always perfectly. Actually, it doesn't look like that outside. It seems very chaotic, but if you go deeper, you will see that everything is interconnected. What I have to say about this, however, is that this interconnection, I think has been distorted. And I think there has been done quite a high level of manipulation in order to make sure that it's really difficult to connect with our heart and to open our heart. In a few words, it seems like there is a situation that is trying everything possible for us not to be connected with Source or to our heart.
Right. Yeah. That's also what you see now in the world. Is like you could say it is all in the vibrations that we choose to. But on the other hand, when is it going to change? When is the wars are going to stop? The fighting, all these kinds of things. It's like sometimes I have the feeling that there's another force, wanting to interrupt the connection with our heart, which is so natural to us in a way.
Most likely that will stop once we figure out within ourselves the program that activate that possibility. The only way to bring to surface all these layers and layers of programming that is within ourselves is, in my opinion, is to fully jump into the full experience of life and try to make choices that are resonating, and as we move forward, we start to uncover limited beliefs that we have to deal with. And all kind of programming, all kind of ideas that are in conflict with what we want and what we are. And as we continue in this manner, the idea of wars and all this stuff is going to get far, fading out and get further and further. In my personal experience, I never seen a war. I accept the fact that there is a war because I hear about it,
Yeah.
but I've never seen a war in my life. So objectively, I cannot say that in my reality there is a war.
Mm.
And interestingly enough, I think most of the people have never seen a war. Most of the, probably people that are coming from the Second World War, they will have that experience. It's an interesting process because this system needs to constantly create wars. Since we are talking about the subject of wars, it seems like the system needs wars in order to sustain itself, because with the idea of wars, it creates it make us believe that the war exists, and in the moment that we believe that the war exists, the war has been created. It's where we put our attention and what we believe is possible that determine our experience, earthly experience. So if everybody would follow their imagination and their joyful imagination, nobody would give attention to war, and the war would not have any chance to crystallize. Nobody would go to war. You cannot have a heart open and go to war. It's impossible. If your heart is driving your car, you will never ever kill somebody. You will never do anything that is violent. So it seems like the best way is to disengage ourselves from these ideas and stop feeding them. Many people would be very angry to hear this because they will feel that it's our responsibility to do something about it.
Yeah.
I agree. What is there to do about it is to disengage first, and then to create through your joy. And we are so powerful that once we start to operate in that way, if the collective starts to do that, there is no chance that a war is going to manifest. So his responsibility as an individual is, our job is to raise our frequencies as much as possible, and basically to be as much as possible happy, and create out of that vibration. If I reach a deep, profound sense of love for myself and I start to create, that will transform everything. And it's enough that just a few 100,000 people do that, and the whole planet will change. And I think that's exactly what's happening right now. We already have passed the critical mass. The 144,000 awakened souls have been passed, and I don't think these 144,000 awakened souls have been going to the war and trying to stop it by fighting. They reach, because in that way they will never reach the awakening stage, because they would basically validate the idea of war by participating to it. They put themselves at the same level of the creator of war. I think these 144,000 and plus soul have been reached the stage of high consciousness by disengaging, and then by taking action towards love, towards joy, toward unity, toward being supportive. toward positive outcomes. And that's why I think the domino falling of the old paradigm is has started.